Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sacco.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Let's get on that topic, man. Quarterback position, that's the most improving part that I think in the offseason overall from last year. Last year we had Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard. They just weren't any better than what we had last year,
Yeah, listen, it was ugly. It got ugly. This offseason was crazy and it was stressful, right? Because it started out with you had the Stafford rumors, and it seemed to me, Kyle, from the word go, as soon as this offseason started, he was looking to move on from Jimmy. I had some information coming in about the Stafford thing. When I heard that the Niners were interested, I tried to do a lot of digging there, and they definitely were interested. There was definitely some conversations, and obviously, like Kyle admitted on the Sean McVay podcast, he was interested. They were talking, and then boom, the Rams come in and surprise everyone. But that was, for me, that kind of got the ball rolling. It was like, okay, I think the Niners are going to be looking into a quarterback here this offseason. And they looked into Carson Wentz. They looked into Sam Darnold. And I think there was a lot of interest in Deshaun Watson. And then what the issues with Deshaun Watson popped up with whatever legal stuff he had going on. And then all of a sudden, boom, this trade happened. So it was like they were just looking to move on. Ultimately decided to trade those multiple first-round picks and get Trey Lance. And now what we have going to the camp is really what I think is going to be a QB battle, to where if Lance can prove that he's ready, I think he's a week one starter. It's all on him. If he's not ready, roll with Jimmy. I mean, you're stupid to throw Lance in there if he's not ready. But I really think it's all on him. And I think if he shows he's good to go, there's no reason for them to wait. That's where I think they're going with it. But it's all on Lance. If Lance isn't ready, this is still a playoff team in my eyes. You don't throw a rookie in who's not ready to go to hurt the team. So that's why Jimmy's there. It's weird. It's almost like, they kind of sort of need Jimmy. And I'm not saying Jimmy can't do, we've seen Jimmy do well enough. I think Jimmy's a starter in the league. I just think the reality of the situation is that he's not in the 49ers plans for the future. So the sooner they can move to the guy who is, I think they do.
Yeah, because, you didn't just move up to just get Trey Lance for nothing. There was some interest with Andy Dalton also, so there was a little interest there too. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, when Shanahan was trying to make some moves for quarterbacks like Stafford and Andy Dalton, that gave me the kind of a question mark, like, is Kyle Shanahan not that confident with Garoppolo? It just kind of like made me think twice about it. And then making that trade, that trade from the Dolphins, that caught me off surprise a little bit.
Yeah, and if you look back even to the playoffs, in that Minnesota game, Jimmy had a really strong first drive. And then after that, he throws a bad interception, and there were a couple other passes that almost got picked, and Kyle just took the ball out of his hands. It was that simple. And then the Green Bay game, you could argue, well, they were running so well, why throw? But again, if you're really paying attention to that game, Jimmy almost throws a pick driving down the field in the first quarter. Then they kind of stopped throwing. And that was when I was kind of like, is there more going on here? And then in the Super Bowl, he did have him throw. He had the rough fourth quarter. I don't want to put it all on Jimmy that they lost that game. He wasn't the only reason why. But he did have a rough fourth quarter. And then last year, he did not play well. Garoppolo did not play well, whether he was hurt or what the situation was. And you can kind of just start to see, maybe is there a little fracture here? And it went that way. So now I think, look, Lance is the future. He's the future of this team. And again, it's nothing against Jimmy. It's just the reality of the situation. You don't make a trade like that. You don't put all your chips on the table. You don't mortgage your future for a guy that you're not going to get on the field as soon as he's ready. It's the reality of the situation. Garoppolo is not the future. I know some fans don't want to hear that because they like Jimmy. I like Jimmy. There's been a lot of exciting times with him as a quarterback. 2019 was a great season. It was an exciting season. But the reality of the situation is it's not the future of the franchise. Trey Lance is the future.
Yeah, Trey Lance is, because you gave up so many draft capital with the Dolphins to get that guy. And what Trey Lance brings to the table is he's very mobile, and he can he's got a strong arm. Like, it's kind of like when you see that guy throw the deep ball, man, it's unbelievable. So, I wouldn't be surprised if the kid actually does become the starter, but I'm not going to just say he is right now, because I think this is what they're going to do. They're going to let Jimmy be the guy for right now until he struggles, or for some reason gets hurt, that's when you play Trey Lance. But at this point, Trey Lance is a great choice because he's a quick learner. He played in a similar offense, man. So this was a no-brainer pick just to get this kid. Even though we weren't gonna ever get Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson by any means, I just thought Trey Lance just had the better upside than those two combined. You know, it's just I thought he just was good.
And a lot of people say with Trey Lance, well, he hasn't really played in a year, well, 2 years now or whatever it's been, and that's true. But when he was playing, he was probably one of the more pro-ready quarterbacks because he was playing a pro-style system. He was running play action, and he was making his own line calls. He was doing things that college QBs don't normally do in terms of play calling and verbiage in the huddle and line calls and things like that. So he is very pro-ready in that sense. He's a smart guy, and if he can get up to speed – I think that's it. And I can't say it enough. Like, I almost don't think it matters what Jimmy does. I think it matters what Trey does. So if Jimmy looks like Jimmy in the preseason and you're like, okay, he's Jimmy Garoppolo, but Trey Lance is he looks ready. And Kyle says, I can do as much with Trey as I can do with Jimmy, he'll go to Trey. If Kyle thinks, look, you're not ready yet. If I put Trey in, we're going to struggle. We're better off with Jimmy right now. I think he stays with Jimmy and they ease Trey in. It's all up to Lance. To me, it's all up to where Lance is. And that may be unfair to Jimmy, you could say, but I really think Jimmy can go out there and look great. If Trey looks ready, he's going in. That's just me. I could end up being totally wrong. And believe me, people are going to tell me if I am. But I can see that happening. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. Either way, I hope whoever's behind center in week 1 has a great season. I hope this team gets back in the playoffs and can start being a consistent winner again.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like with the quarterback room, it's a lot better than what it was last year. So you could definitely be either way. I mean, Jimmy G, you want him healthy, you want him at his best. But what if Trey Lance does end up being the guy? Then what happens? I know that some of our fan base is saying we're spending a $27 million quarterback on the bench. I mean, what do you think? You think we should even keep Garoppolo as a luxury, even if he didn't become the starter?
It'll be interesting to see if what will happen in that case. So I think they would approach him to take a pay cut. I think that'd be the first thing that would happen. So they'll see if he'll take less money, and then they would try to move him. I think the issue with moving him this offseason is, 1, his injury history combined with 2, his salary. So nobody's going to trade a first or second round pick for a guy who makes $25 million and has been hurt 2 of the last 3 years. They're just not going to do it. So the Niners weren't going to take a 5th round pick or a 6th round pick or anything like that. So I think the Patriots had some interest at one point, but it was for a later round pick. So I don't think it was going to be anything where anybody's really going to offer a second for the Niners. And the Niners were just like, all right, we're going to hold on to him then. So it'll be interesting to see if Trey does win the job, what's going to happen with Jimmy. But you saw, look, I mean, who's behind Jimmy? You have Nate Sudfeld and Josh Rosen, and neither one of those guys, I guess they're unknown. They're unknown right now. But you saw what happened last year. This team, to me, last year, even with all the injuries, right? Even with everybody going down, if Mullins and Beathard even played average, Niners are in the playoffs. They would have beat Washington. They would have beat Dallas. They should have beat Arizona in week 1. They should have beat Philly. But Nick Mullins, just with turnovers that were just backbreaking. He had a ton of turnovers, but they were at the worst possible times. He's throwing red zone interceptions, just things that absolutely pick sixes, destroyed games. And I just think if the Niners had even average QB play, they win 9-10 games and they're in the playoffs. And that's a testament to the coaching staff. And I think Kyle understands that too. Is look, as much as everybody likes Shanahan and he's a good coach, and he is, I love Kyle. But the reality of the situation is he's the only 49ers head coach to have 3 10-loss seasons. Why? Is he a bad coach? No. It's because of a quarterback play, because his starting quarterbacks have not been on the field and his backups have been turnover machines and they've lost games. So I think Kyle understands that now. And I think that they're set up this year to have a much better quarterback room. I think Rosen and Sudfeld are better than Beathard and Mullins anyway, even if it did have to go that way. So they're set up to have a better QB room. And look, they're going to run the hell out of the ball this year. They just need the quarterback to play smart.
Yeah. I think what the plan is for this season, they're trying to get 500 attempt running plays, for the running
I agree.
back.
Yep.
If they can do that, if they can just keep those guys healthy and then let that quarterback just be able to be what he is, and even if he has to be a game manager, at least he'll be able to do the job right. I mean, like you said, it has to take an average quarterback for this offense to work too.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So in 2019, and that was the year everything was working, right? 13-3. I think they were 26th in pass attempts. So Kyle wants to run the ball. And you look at how they're set up this year, they'll miss Jeff Wilson, especially inside the red zone because he's such a powerful runner. But you have Mostert if he can stay on the field. Trey Sermon, I think, is going to have a huge role on this team. And people are kind of sleeping on Wayne Gallman. Wayne Gallman did a great job taking over for Saquon Barkley with the Giants last year. Giants did not have a good offensive line, and Gallman did a really nice job filling in. So they have three really capable backs, right off the cuff who could run the ball. So I think they're going to try to do that. I think they're going to try to pound it. I think you're going to see a lot of carries, and then just have the quarterback just run the offense, just take care of the football. And that's something Trey Lance did very well in college. That's something Jimmy struggled to do. He has a high interception percentage. I think it's about 3% with the Niners, and even his adjusted interception percentage is about the same. So that's been another issue with Garoppolo, is where he's not throwing the ball a ton. He's not throwing the ball downfield, and there's still those turnovers. So you hope that if he does play, that he cuts down on those. And if it is Lance can do what he did in college, which was take care of the football.
Yeah. See, the thing with Trey Lance is he took care of the football pretty well, despite what college he went to. He was just he was a smart guy. He knew how to communicate with the offensive line too. I mean, he was a leader, so he has that intelligence. And something like him, it's like he's got a good arm. He can run. He doesn't run scared. He runs like fearless. Like he just doesn't, like, he just takes that chance. But one thing about Trey Lance is you cannot go wrong with this kid. I mean, this is what you need for this offense. And the last time a Shanahan's ever coached a quarterback that won a Super Bowl, it was with a mobile quarterback. So Trey Lance is a mobile quarterback. So maybe there's hope. We shall see.
Yeah, and you think, you mentioned the Shanahan, so Elway could move. Steve Young, obviously, when Mike Shanahan had him, I mean, that was, did an offense run any better than the 90s 49ers in the regular season with Young? RG3, you saw what they did with him, the different things they were able to do with him until he got hurt or whatever. So it's really interesting. Shanahan talks about 11-on-11 football, and his tune kind of started to change when Josh Allen kind of wrecked them on Monday Night Football. Shanahan was talking about having a QB who could do more. And Lance doesn't remind me, his play style doesn't necessarily remind me of Josh Allen. Reminds me maybe a little bit more of like a Steve McNair or something like that. But where he reminds me of Josh Allen is it's almost like a ball of clay, just this ridiculously athletic ball of clay that you could do whatever you want to with. He's got a cannon. He could move. He's smart. And I think Kyle just sees that and he's like, oh my God, I can put this person in my offense and coach him up and have him learn my playbook, and the sky's the limit. And you saw what Allen did last year when it clicked for him. And I think the thought process is the same with Trey Lance. And look, it might not be year one. Allen, it took two full years really before he took off. So there's got to be some patience with that. Again, I just keep saying take care of the football. As long as he takes care of the football, he doesn't have to go out and throw for 5,000 yards in the first year. Just take care of the football, be smart, and eventually grow into that franchise guy that you could build your team around.
Oh yeah, like that's the thing with Trey Lance is like the way how you're just saying it, the way how Shanahan wanted a quarterback like that. It's like Josh Allen. Both of them played in questionable competition. Both of them have accuracy issues. So that's why I think the comparison is very fair. Yeah, maybe he does have that Steve McNair type style too, but this is what makes this kid exceptional. This is an upside that Shanahan's willing to take. He's willing to take that risk. He knows he knows he'll be on the hot seat if he doesn't get this working out. I mean, he's only had one winning season, and majority of the seasons were all losing seasons because of the injuries. So this is kind of like some pressure, even though it's on John Lynch first before it goes to him.
Yeah, it kind of resets any pressure, I think, for Shanahan. But you're right. At some point, I don't care how good of a coach you are, you have to win games at some point. You can't say, "Oh, you're a great coach, you're a great coach, you're a great coach," and you lose 10 games every year. And I think they're done. They're done with that now. I really do believe they're going to go on a nice little run here. And what I mean by that is, so the Niners have had four winning seasons in the last 18 years. You had the 3 with Harbaugh in 2019. That has to stop. That's the main thing for me is they have to become a perennial playoff team. So what I mean by that is like the Seahawks or the Packers or the Steelers, just a team who are like, well, they're always going to be around 10 wins, right? Regardless, just because they have a good roster, they have a good quarterback, they have good coaching. And you look at the way the Niners are built right now. You have Trent Williams, George Kittle, Fred Warner, just to assume Trey Lance. They have sort of these blue chippers and this really good core. Nick Bosa. You hope Kinlaw can get into there. There's this nice core of players. George Kittle. I don't know if I said Kittle or not, but obviously Ayuk looks great. You have this 5-ish year window, 5 maybe more, with this core. You have to take advantage of it. You have to start winning games. You have to start being a playoff team. Everybody's talking this year like, oh well, Super Bowl this year. No, I'm not about Super Bowl in 2021. I'm about competing for the Super Bowl every year for the next 5 years. It's not a 1 year thing. It's not an all-in thing. It's not, well, it's got to be the revenge tour. No, you need to be a perennial playoff team who is competing for the Super Bowl for the next 5 years or so. And then you hope if Lance is a franchise QB, it goes beyond that. But you have to take advantage of this core. They have so much talent, so much talent. They cannot waste it.
Yeah, it's because of the injuries.
Yeah.
Like personally, we got the talent, but the injuries just been the issue. Do you think it's got to do with the training staff or something like that? Because it's been a major issue with the 49ers for quite some time since Shanahan's been the head coach. I mean, it's kind of been frustrating as a 49ers fan to just see this happen over and over and over again. It's like, don't you kind of feel frustrated how it comes out like that?
I've never seen anything like it. I never saw anything like last year. It was just, and it's frustrating because that window that I talked about, I thought it started in 2019, and I thought there was going to be a run. And to see last year happen the way it did, and it was because of injuries, but still, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, man. It really does. And it was almost like you have to feel like it was bad luck. They have had injury issues since 2017. They have, since Kyle got in there. But it's hard to say if somebody blows an ACL, is that anybody's fault? If somebody gets their knee rolled on, is that anybody's fault? So I don't know. They changed training staffs. We'll see this year. If there's more of the same this year, something's wrong. I mean, I don't know what that is. I'm not in the building. I'm not at the practices. I have no idea what that is. But if the same thing happens, they have to take a look in the mirror and say, hey, we got to do something differently. But I think they started to do that in the draft this year. They drafted guys who were more durable. And it seems like they kind of understand now. Look, you trade for a D Ford. D Ford had injury issues. Weston Richburg, you signed him. He had injury issues. They kind of went after guys. Even Jimmy, you didn't know it at the time, but he was hurt. He had the shoulder, and then he's been hurt 2 of the last 3 years. So you're bringing in guys, or they had been, who had injury issues. So it seems like they're sort of going away from that now. A guy like Aaron Banks or Sermon or these guys, pretty durable guys. So you hope now that the people they're bringing in maybe can be a little bit durable, and you just avoid the freak stuff, the people getting their knees rolled on, 2 ACLs in 3 plays with Bosa and Thomas, things like that are just insane. You hope they can avoid that, and it starts to balance out a little bit. It has to at some point. It really does.
Yeah, the way we're changing the approaches, the way we're drafting, we are being more cautious with these players. So it's like the only one we gamble from this year's draft is Toli Noah Hufanga, who to me is a good prospect, but coming off injuries. So that's probably the okay pick for me, because I mean I would like this pick to pan out, and maybe because sometimes when those players are injured in college, it doesn't always mean they're going to be injury prone at the NFL level. Look at Frank Gore. Frank Gore was coming off injuries. He came out of injuries after injuries at Miami, and he turned out to be one of the best running backs of this era.
Yeah, you never know. It's just the way when they get to the NFL. And again, a lot of it's luck. It really is. I mean, it's a violent game. People get hurt. So the main spot they need to stay healthy is the quarterback position. And that's sort of it for me too. When you look at the durability aspect of it, people do get hurt in the NFL, but the rules now protect the quarterback, right? You have quarterbacks playing into their 40s, obviously now. And you look at a guy like Tom Brady, who has one major injury in 20 years or whatever it's been. Drew Brees, Russell Wilson plays 16 games every year. Matt Ryan plays 16 games every year. These guys are healthy. If you look up and down the list of these quarterbacks, they're all healthy. They all play 15 plus games. And I use 15 because usually the last week of the season, people sit out and things like that. But so many of the top quarterbacks, if you go and look, just go for Football Reference and look at the quarterbacks every year, 15 to 20 of the major ones, they're playing 15 to 20 games. And the Niners starter has missed basically 2 of the last 3 seasons. I had to go back. I was curious to see the last starting quarterback who missed that much time. And Andrew Luck was the only person who I could find who had missed really 2 out of 3 seasons like Garoppolo did. Cam Newton's missed some time too, but his was more one injury that cost him a whole year. Garoppolo's missed 2 full seasons. What other major starting quarterback has done that? You'd have to go back to Luck, and before that, I have no idea. So they've been snake bitten with that. And the Niners have actually only had, I got to think about this now. Alex Smith did it twice. Kaepernick did it once. Kaepernick did it twice. And then Garoppolo did it once, play 16 games in a season. They've only had it 5 times since Jeff Garcia left. That's crazy. So you just have a carousel of quarterbacks in and out, either because they're not playing well or because of injury. You can't have it. You can't have 5 seasons where you have your quarterback the whole year out of 18. I mean, it's insane. So again, that has to turn around at some point, and hopefully it's now.
Yeah, it's just been the issue with all that. I mean, even though they're making protection for these quarterbacks, it's still kind of been the issue with the 49ers. Like you said, it's been snake bitten. Doesn't matter who's our quarterback, but Garoppolo, it's been kind of like pretty much history of injuries. It's like even in New England, he's got hurt with his shoulder. Even coming out of college, he wasn't even an injury prospect. He was like the one that had the least injuries in college, and he's just been injury prone. So, like, yeah, the risk of these quarterbacks, like Andrew Luck, for example, the guy had the talent in the world, but just was never able to stay healthy.
Right.
That was the only issue with him, was like he just never couldn't stay healthy. Ever since that shoulder injury, it just changed. A lot of injuries start to derail these quarterbacks' career. I mean, yeah. So like, I agree on your input of that. It's just been the long-term issue of the 49ers. Like, we invested a lot in Jimmy Garoppolo, and the way Jimmy Garoppolo plays when healthy, he's kind of been a decent quarterback. Let's be honest. Like, the interceptions have been yeah. But like,
he's the type of guy that if you have a good team around him, he wins. Obviously, you've seen it. You can win with him. I think he's a system quarterback. I think he's got to play within the system. I think Kyle helps him a lot. I mean, look, he's been to he's had 2 of the best coaches you can have in Belichick, McDaniels, and then Shanahan. He's been really fortunate in the places he's been in, and he's okay. I think he's a starter in the league. He's not somebody where I think he's going to go and be a backup for the rest of his career. I think he can start. I do believe that. I just think you brought up the injury. So look at Jimmy's injury history. He started for the Patriots, what year was it? 2016, I think. The first 4
when
games.
Brady was suspended.
Yep. So he was supposed to start the first 4 games. He was injured game 2. Then the 49ers, 2018, he was injured game 3, right? Game 3, yeah. 2020, he's injured game 2. So 3 of the 4 years he's been a starting quarterback, he hasn't made it out of week 3. That's injury prone. You could say the shoulder, okay, whatever, we don't know. And then the ACL was bad luck. Well, now after last year, now you're injury prone. You can't get away from that. So even if you're a decent quarterback, he's not Patrick Mahomes. If he's Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, you say, okay, he's been hurt, but let's ride it out. This guy's crazy good. You got Garoppolo, Goff, sort of that level. They're starters. They're good enough to start, but they're a guy that you're always kind of like, can we do better? What else is out there? And when you combine injuries with that, you have the situation that you have right now with him.
Yeah, and that's what it is with Garoppolo. Like, he's good, no mistake. But I think this is why we're just going with Trey Lance for the future. But I think this is the perfect situation for the 49ers. We won't have to go through the quarterback problems if it came down to that situation with Jimmy. Like, if Jimmy somehow gets hurt, this kid Trey Lance should be ready. He should be able to, like in the offseason, he's been able to just learn, and he's been showcasing his arm strength. He's been working with the receivers. That tells you a lot about how this kid's willing to work, and they're getting this kid ready for training camp. So that's something to look forward to. Like, I want to see what this kid can do in the preseason. I want to see if he can really step up.
Oh, it's exciting. I'll tell you, this has been the longest offseason I can remember. It just feels like it's been a year and a half because I can't wait. I just can't wait for them to get back on the field. Because I got that bad taste from 2020. I want to get the bad taste out of my mouth, and also I want to see Lance. I want to see Trey Sermon. I want to see how these new guys are going to come in. I want to see how Ayuk's going to do in year 2, because I think he's the first real legit number 1 type receiver that they've had in a long time. I like Debo. I think Debo is more of kind of a gadgety, second type receiver. But I think Ayuk is going to be that, that dog, that big guy. And you pair him with Kittle, it's really exciting. It's really exciting. We'll see how the defense responds without Salah. If there's any bumps in the roads early, but I'm as excited as I've been in a long time for a season to start.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to than last year. Last year was kind of like, they were all pumped up trying to get back for next year, but then injuries just started playing a factor. But
yeah, it fell apart.
When you look into, yeah, well, the most intriguing part is like DeMeco Ryans, man. This guy does have playing experience, and he can relate to the players, and the players are just buying into what DeMeco Ryans is doing. Like, he said he wants this team to get physical, fast, physical, and aggressive, right? So
yeah.
That's what I like about it. And the players like Fred Warner, they're just buying into what he's saying, man. They like it.
Yeah, he's a rising star. He really is. It seems like he's may even be a head coach before we know it. But listen, Robert Saleh did a hell of a job the last 2 years. He really did, especially last season. And he's really going to be missed. And I think there's going to be that early on. We'll see how things go with the new coach and things like that. I've read that Ryan's going to be a little bit more aggressive. So maybe we see some more blitzing and things like that. But I'm excited to see what he can do. I really am. Where the Niners are going to need that defense, again, is going to depend on, we know Fred Warner is going to be great. Couple things for the defense is, one is the defensive line going to stay healthy. If you have Bosa, obviously that makes a huge difference if he comes back and is Bosa. Is Kinlaw going to take that step in year 2? I don't expect him to be DeForest Buckner, but can he at least be very good, could be an impact player? Is Eric Armstead going to be able to have a better season with Bosa there again? What are we going to get out of D Ford? The D end, was it Ecom, his last name, from the Rams?
Yeah, Samson
So is he going to come in and be a good situational pass rusher? If Ford isn't ready, can he be that other guy? What do guys like Kendall Gibbons, are they going to step up? Where I am a little nervous, so we know the talent are on the D line. The secondary scares the hell out of me. Not so much the safeties, because if Ward and Tart are healthy, they're a good safety pair. Where the secondary scares me is you have Mosley, and everybody's saying, okay, Jason Verrett's great. Yeah, he was great last year. He was terrific. But he is the only year he's played more than 5 games in the last 4 seasons or whatever it's been. That if he goes down, that worries me, because all of a sudden you're pushing Thomas or one of the rookies in there. I like K'Wan Williams in the slot. He's a terrific player, but there's just not a lot of depth at the corners. So an injury there really, really scares me. And if Barrett gets through this year, great. He's on a 1-year deal. Hopefully he can stay healthy, but he hasn't done it in the past. I think he played 5 games in a 4-year span or something like that. So it's a little nerve-wracking to have him to go in when they're with him and Mosley and kind of say, that's your top 2 for them to stay on the field. I am a little bit nervous there, but we'll see. If the pass rush is there and the D line is dominant, it may not matter as much who's playing corner.
Yeah, that is the most concerning spot, is cornerback. I mean, Verrett, we see a lot of his injury history coming from the Chargers, and it kind of concerns me if he's going to prove himself again. I mean, he had one hell of a good season last year, even playing as a starter when it came down to it. But then Mosley, if he's out, that's going to be a question mark too. I mean, K'Wan Williams, he's one of our best nickels, and if he misses time, that's going to really impact the secondary a little bit. I mean, Aubrey Thomas
tends to miss a few games every year.
Yeah, Aubrey Thomas is a rookie. He's unproven, so maybe his opportunity will prove itself when he plays. But Diamadou Lenore is another unproven guy, but he looks good playing nickel. So I think maybe that's probably why they drafted him to replace K'Wan Williams for next year. So then you got Dante Johnson. He just hasn't panned out for us for a long time, but we've been keeping this guy because he knows our system. So that's the only main concern about the depth. I mean, if it came down to that injury, we're gonna play Dante, man. This guy
but he
gets
never
burned.
goes away. He's
never goes away, man.
There.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with the secondary. Yeah, you do need to have depth. And sure, we didn't bring back Sherman. Yeah, but the guy's not the same, and we're playing a different scheme. We're playing a like more of a
Yeah,
man to man.
it's worrisome. But though, yeah, those two rookies, I think they're good. They're
Yeah, that's the thing with these rookies. I mean, they still will have to learn the speed of the game a little bit different than what they did in college. I mean, Aubrey Thomas just has that feisty, that little
yeah,
confidence.
and
That's what I like about
Sherman, he was great for them those first couple years. He's lost a step. He has. So I'm okay with them not bringing him back.
Yeah, and see, and then this is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. We can agree on this part, even for this Washington football fan. He does agree on that part. It
Yeah,
does
I
have
didn't know much
potential,
about
but
Thomas when they drafted him, so I had to go to school on him a little bit. But from what I had found out about him is if he opted out, if he had played, he might have been a second round pick. Um, th-
yeah, he had the skill set. Like his coverage was really good. See, I
mm,
didn't know much about the kid, and I had to check out a
yeah,
lot of
it's just a
film.
matter of them. Well, we got to see what happens. If those rookies come up to speed, look, they're going to be on the team. They're probably going to be the fourth and fifth corners or whatever. So if they get up to speed quickly, maybe we're in good shape. But there's that's why you got to hope the guys can.
Yeah, the difference is, do you think we'll probably even sign a cornerback still? Because
I
I've
think
heard we
he's
had
going to be a guy
interest.
who has high upside, Thomas. I do. I do. I like him a lot. We'll see how long that takes. So hopefully these other guys can stay healthy and stay on the field for most of the season. But Thomas could be a guy starting next
Oh
year. He really
yeah,
could be.
Thomas does have potential, and I think that's why we drafted him in the third round because there was some good value.
It's possible. So I think cornerback and you hear me okay? Sorry, I think we're breaking up a little bit.
It's all
Can you
right,
hear?
man. I guess you had a little difficulty.
Oh, okay, okay. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. We're back. Yeah, Thomas has a lot of potential. I do think he's going to be a guy who's going to be a starter, and I don't think that if somebody gets cut or something, or somebody gets hurt, you could see them maybe sign a corner. But you have Verrett, you have Williams, you have Mosley, and you have the two rookies. I think those are going to be the top five guys going into camp, and I think those will be the top five guys on the roster.
Yeah, that's what's going to be because you drafted Thomas in the third round. Usually, those third round picks are guaranteed roster spots.
Mm-hmm.
Lenore, he should be able to make the team because he's got that
I think so. Yeah.
that uh, that skill set to play nickel. So that's more important for the Niners when it comes down to K1 Williams. He can never stay healthy. So that's why I think that's important to add nickel because now that we lost to Darius Moore for the season, now we got to see who's going to step in for that role. I think Tavon
Right.
Wilson might be that guy because he played nickel for the Patriots, so he does have that skill set to play that role a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see. I definitely know that I'm stressed about it. So we'll see how training camp goes with that. But the defense is, I think it's exciting. I do. I think there's some exciting potential there. And again, you got your blue chippers. You got guys like Warner and Bosa who could really carry you. To have two players of that level, I think will, as long as they stay on the field, um,
Yeah,
will kind of
that's the
raise everybody else up. And again, if D Ford is healthy, you saw what those guys did, both in Ford in 2019 together. So I know it's a big if, but there's still a lot of potential on that defense. A lot of it.
yeah. The pass rush just has to like make up for that secondary.
Yep. Yep.
Last year, I mean, like in 2019, our secondary was all right, but when we had our pass rushers, they were able to make it easy for the secondary. So that's what matters right there is the pass rush.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this Washington football fan is going to ask us a question. Weakest
All
position
right.
on Niners roster? I would say secondary.
Yeah, probably. That's a good question. I would say secondary too, specifically the corners. Um, I'm trying to think of another position that might be weak. Beyond Debo and Ayuk, the receivers are really weak.
Yeah,
But
that third receiver could be questionable. It depends who steps in, and then you got
yeah,
an interior line too. An interior line could be the issue also.
yeah, a lot of that depends on Banks. I think Lincoln Tomlinson doesn't get enough credit because he's been so durable for them, and he plays every game. So I like him. I like Banks. Brunskill, I think the issue with Brunskill last year is he got moved around all over the place. Brunskill's a good player. So if Brunskill can stay in one position, whether it's the swing tackle, whether he does play guard, whatever it is, I think he's a good player. I do. And if
Yeah,
Alex Mack has anything left, we'll see. But there's a lot of upside in that offensive line. McGlinchey's got to play better, obviously. Beyond if a receiver gets hurt, if Debo or Ayuk get hurt, I don't know what they're doing. I don't. I have no clue what they're doing beyond with those guys. I mean, Richie James, I like. Is he ready to step up and be the third guy? I don't know. You have Trent Sherfeld, whatever the hell his name is from Arizona. The Niners seem to like him. I don't know how much of a receiver he's going to be. You got Travis Benjamin. You have Juwan Jennings, Jalen Hurd. Is he ever going to get on the field? You know, guys like that. They're just question mark after question mark after question mark. So
yeah, that's the only question mark about that is after Debo and Ayuk, you just don't know who's the next receiver
right,
to step
right.
up right there. I mean, Jalen Hurd had the potential when he was going to Baylor. He was originally a running back. He had that yak material to yards after the catch, and he was
Mm-hmm.
physical. We liked that he was a big receiver, but couldn't stay healthy. That was the only major concern for him. He's been missing
Right.
2 straight seasons with consecutive injuries, like a back injury and a torn ACL. Or was it a
Two
torn Achilles?
major, yeah, dude, they say major injuries. So it's not like, you know, he broke his wrist or something. He's had two major injuries and he hasn't played an NFL down. It's so hard. I'm rooting for him like crazy. I am. I'd love to see him on the field, but it's so hard to count on him right now.
I mean, I'm hoping this kid can stay healthy because you need a big body receiver besides
Mm-hmm.
Kittle. Kittle's like our only big target we got. I mean, there's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like
Be huge in
then
the
you
red
got
zone.
Jaquan Jennings. Yeah, and then you got Jaquan Jennings who, yeah, I mean he kind of is unproven because he was drafted late round, but he was good coming out of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
That feisty mentality. Maybe in year two he's getting the grasp of this speed of the game. He's getting a full off season, so maybe this kid might step up, or we'll see. You know, I mean he is physical after the catch. May not be fast, but he plays fast for his size.
Yeah, it's just to me, I feel like it's with every receiver, it's the same thing. Like you're like, well, can he do this or can he come up to speed? Like to have all those unknowns, it is a little bit scary. Maybe Travis Benjamin's a guy, that guy. Mohamed Sanu's on the team. You know, there's so many receivers on there. You just got to
Yeah.
hope that two of them have a good camp and can step up.
Yeah, so the receiver is like. Besides that, you just don't know who would that third guy be. But maybe we might even sign another receiver just to make it more interesting. Like I'm hearing a lot of interest with DD Westbrook or
Hmm.
whoever comes to mind. I just haven't heard any like them signing him, so it's kind of been quiet. So there's been like little interest of him, but then it disappeared.
Yeah, you have to see when camp starts. Maybe when things will start to happen, then maybe they bring some other guys in, and also the start of the season when there's cuts, some surprise cuts, maybe if guys don't show up in camp or they don't like what they see, they may end up trying to sign someone who gets cut from another team too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with these receivers, like durability and consistency. But when you got Debo and Ayuk, they are very capable starters. Debo's just like you just said, he is like a gadget play, but he can do those jet sweeps exceptionally well. He plays physical. He's good
Yeah.
at the catch. I mean, Ayuk is just a more of a better route runner, and he can separate, and he just has that physicality too. So I mean, he just plays a little smarter. There's a difference. I mean, he is like that true number one receiver. Kind of reminds me a little bit of what Robert Woods does for the Rams. You know?
Yeah, you know what they have to do because you got to figure. Okay, so you got Kittle, you got Debo, you got Ayuk. You're going to get a chunk of your targets. They need to replace Kendrick Bourne. Does that make sense? So like
Yeah.
Bourne's not a guy who's going to catch 70 balls, but he'd catch like 30 balls. He'd catch a few big third down passes. Just sort of that role player to come in there and get 30, 35 catches. That's what they have to find. I hope someone can step up and do that. Bourne took a lot because Bourne would make this great play and then he'd drop a ball, or he'd make this great play and he'd jump offside. So he was kind of maddening like that, but he did make some big catches. And they just have to kind of find that guy who can do that, make that 3rd and 9, make that tough catch. Even if it's only 2 catches a game, even if it's only 5 catches a month, they're usually big catches. They just got to find that guy. You got to think with all the receivers they have, one of them could hopefully do that. So we'll see.
Yeah, replacing Kendrick Bourne, it's not gonna be easy, but he was very reliable. I mean, he wasn't like consistently like what you would say. Sometimes he would drop a couple passes here and there, but when he made those contested catches or those kind of plays, that was something that you just missed about Kendrick Bourne. And he was an exciting player. He was like a guy that liked to dance a lot. He just he just enjoyed the game a little bit. He wasn't a 70 catch type of receiver for us, but he was at least a 40 plus catch guy. But he still was able to be a part of this team. But now that you have to find somebody like that, I think the suitable guy, people ain't talking about him, but maybe it is Mohamed Sanu. Maybe that's the guy.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I know he was with the Niners. Was it last year and it didn't stick? So we'll see. He knows Shanahan's offense. He was a good player at one point, and they don't need a lot out of him. They just need a little bit here and there. Another thing that Bourne did, he played. I don't think he ever missed a game. So again, to have somebody who is reliable like that is huge too. So yeah, if Sanu can give them 16 good games as a role player, I'd sign me up, man. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I just hope that this pans out. I mean, even though Travis Benjamin opt out and maybe he adds a big play element that we don't have with our receivers, I think that's why we brought him in for. And he's familiar with Shanahan from Cleveland, so I don't know if this guy's even guaranteed a spot because we do got some pretty decent players. Like, I mean, I think Richie James has proven himself when given opportunities he could play. And yeah.
He had some big games. Was it the game against? I think it was against the Packers when they were down everybody. He had like 130 yards or something like that. He had a really big game. Yeah, it's funny. Like I like Richie James too, and I do think he'll make the team. But other than Debo and Ayuk, I don't think any receiver's safe. If you told me, I wouldn't be surprised if any of them got cut. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them made the team. The 8 of them or whatever there is. I think Trent. Name Sherfeld or Sherfeld, I don't remember, but they signed him from Arizona. I know they really like him for special teams too. I think he's a lock to make the team. But beyond him, I don't know. I guess Richie James, and then I think somebody like Sanu or Benjamin stick. If Jalen Hurts is healthy, he'll make the team. I just don't know if he's going to be healthy. So
yeah, Jalen Hurts is a question mark, but I'm just praying that this guy can stay healthy. I mean, it's just been the issue with him. I mean, I like that he's a 6'4" or 6'5" receiver. Looks like a tight end. I mean, it's kind of like the one thing that concerns me. Like, come on, like Debo and Ayuk are just the more proven receivers, but let's be honest, they can't all stay healthy. So Richie James, he's kind of showcased it, but he's just not the guy. And I don't think Shanahan sees him as that guy. I think he just doesn't have confidence. Like, even when you get a guy like Jalen Hurd, this was Shanahan's guy that he drafted. He liked this kid. So I think there's just something about what he likes about him, or else he would have just cut him already. But there's just something about it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see this year because I do think this is his last chance. If he's not healthy again, I think he's probably gone. But we'll see. Look, they missed on Pettis. Hurd's been hurt. Trent Taylor didn't pan out. Debo and Ayuk look good, but they put a lot of draft capital into the receiver position, and they have to hope. Richie James too. He was a draft pick. Got to hope a couple of these guys stick. Other than Debo and Ayuk. So.
Okay, so here's an interesting question by this Rams fan. Do you guys think that the NFL is going to try and expand to 18 games within the next 10 years? The owner seems to really want that. Do you think that's going to happen?
Yep. I think money. I think they'll make more money with it, and I think they'll probably try to do it in the next 10 years. I can't see you going more than 18, but I think, yeah.
You know what? The one thing that would happen if they did expand 18 games is they would just cut down another preseason game. You think they'll just cut that down?
You go to 2 preseason games. You got to put in another bye in there probably. You have to expand rosters. I hope they get rid of Thursday night games. I don't think that they will. I mean, I love to watch
Yeah,
them, but it's they're kind of a shit show, and like it's not good for the players' health and things like that. But I mean, listen, I wish there was football on every day, but realistically, the Thursday night games aren't a great thing. But yeah, I think anything the NFL can do to make money, I think they're going to do it. And I can see in 10 years, yeah, I can see 18 games definitely.
yeah. That's the thing with the games. It's like they are gonna eventually expand because of the money and because of they want to expand some more players. Like it's probably not going to be no longer the 53-man roster. It's probably going to expand to maybe like up to, I think maybe up to like 58 men roster or 60, depending on
Yeah, they're
how
going to
they
have to.
expand.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
if you go to 18 games, you have to. You got to give them a lot more roster spots, definitely.
yeah, because of the injuries and plus the depth, and it's a lot of games, so it could lead down to it. And then they would have to expand more practice squad also, so that could
Mm.
be the huge advantage. Like there's some players, like some veterans, who could just be on the practice squad and still be on the team.
Oh, sure. Yeah, look at Jonathan Cyprian from last year. He's a guy who could have been with an expanded roster. So
Oh, what comes first, 18 games or more teams? 18 games. I think
yeah,
it's going to be.
I don't see expansion right now. I don't think that's on the table. So yeah, definitely the 18. I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be 18. So if that answers your question, Pale Time. And let me say hello to everybody else. What's up, ProTech? What's up, Raymond? Sorry, wasn't able to get to you guys. What's up, Coach Dante? What is up, Awesome Kid? Nosedar? What's up, Matthew Navarro? So, yeah, dude, that's the thing. I think it's going to happen with 18 expansion games because you're going to, like, if they're going to do that, at least add up the roster. Forget the 53-man roster. Add more
Yeah,
into the roster with all the players because it gives other teams the advantage to get that player when it's cut. Because when they're cut, they could just pick up that player.
absolutely. Yeah,
And
yeah. The NFL, look, the NFL is just going to keep growing and growing and growing. It's the king right now. It just really is. So
yeah, it is. Like, definitely is. Like, it's going to change the landscape a little more. They're going to add more games to it, but they might just have to cut down preseason games a little bit. Like, maybe in the near future, we'll probably just have 2 preseason games and that's it.
yeah, I see it going that way too. There's only 3 this year, right? So thank God. I
I
can see the
think, I,
same
I
thing.
think,
Two, and I think you're going to see uglier football in the beginning of the year. But as teams get used to it, you're seeing that now a little bit where it takes some teams a little bit longer now because there's less time together and things like that. But the preseason 4 is too much. It's too much, and there's too many injuries, and it's bad news. So
yeah, okay. So this guy said the 49ers going 13. You know what? I don't want to put that expectation, man. Let's just take it one game at a time. If I were to be realistically, I say I'd be okay with 11 wins. I mean, I
yeah,
think we got.
I agree. And I always look at it like I don't like to say like 12-4 because 2 or 3 plays can be the difference in 2 or 3 games. It can go either way. So I like to go like a 3-game range. So I'd say, yeah, I think 10 to 10, 11, 12, either 9 to 11 or 10 to 12, something like that. I think. But I can see an 11-6 year. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, because realistically, this division's tough. So it's not going to
Right.
be like
Right.
we do got a favorable schedule, no doubt. But when we play this division, it's not going to be easy. So I would pump the brakes on the 13 and 12 wins at least until we prove it. One game at a time. I don't like to
Yeah.
be overconfident. I just want to see how this pans out first.
Yeah, they've had 4 winning seasons in 18 years. I can't go into a season and say we're going to win 13, 14 games. Like they're just not, again, they have to prove to me that they can do it every year. Do they have the talent to win 12, 13 games? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
they do.
they have to prove to me now that they have to go out and they're going to go on not just a 1-year run, 3, 4, 5 years of consistent good football. That's what the Niners have to prove to me right now.
That's what it is. Like, see, we've had 4 winning seasons for those 18 years, and I'm not even thinking about that first. We got to make the playoffs first. We got
Right,
to win our
exactly.
division.
Right.
We just have to, yeah, just like I like the mindset, just one game at a time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just I don't want to be like a Dallas Cowboy fan and think Super Bowl every year. No, no, no.
Yeah.
One game at a time. Hold the hype a little bit.
Yeah, and they, like you said, they have to win the division first. They have to win 10 games first. Like, it's funny, as a fan, you get excited, but to say, okay, your team's lost 10 games 5 of the last 6 years. Well, we're in 15 this year. Well, you're probably not. It's kind of baby steps a little bit. 2019 was a crazy year and everything went right and it was awesome. But a lot of stuff went right for them that year. So let's see what they can do this year and see if they can build on it.
Yeah. So okay. So here's another one. What Pale Time says: Is the NFL better now than it was 10 years ago? In your guys' opinion, I know it's very different. Well,
Oh man.
like 10 years ago, you had more excitement. There was just more excitement. But now that the NFL is just making it too much safety, I don't know. I just don't see the excitement like it used to be.
I think I'm a football junkie, so I'm always into it. But yeah, I think some of the rule changes now. I think I preferred the game in the '90s. I like a little defense. I like a little being able to hit players and things like that. It's great that quarterbacks can stay on the field, but like it's such a different game now. Sometimes I think it gets a little too hand touchy, which
Yeah,
is bothersome to me. Um, some of these calls on quarterbacks and it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, you know what? As much as I love the game and love to watch the game, was it better 10 years ago? Probably, probably.
yeah, that's the difference. Like when you watch the games during the '90s or during the 2000s, it was physical and there
Yeah,
wasn't too many rules in that time. So that's what I miss about football. Like football's football, but they're making it more like a flag football thing where you can't even touch the quarterback or
right.
anything like that. You can't get all into that physical contact where they'll just automatically throw a penalty, and it's just I don't know. Like when I watch the game, I'm a little confused with it. I'm like, why are they throwing this penalty for no reason? It just doesn't make
Right.
sense. And okay, so Pale Times, that's another question. Do you like the Rams this year? In division wise, they are the most complete team in that division. They do have the most pressure. They made the move for Matthew Stafford. I think
Hmm.
that this is the team with the most pressure than we are.
Well, we're going to find out when the Niners were interested in Stafford. I said a million times, I think Stafford could be an absolute stud in Kyle Shanahan's system, and we're going to see. We're going to see how he does with McVay in that system. I think the offense looks good. The defense, they obviously have Aaron Donald, so we'll see where they are there. Um, so yeah, I think right now, if you ask me the team to beat in the division, it is the Rams. It definitely is. I think they're going to have a good season. And look, McVay wins every year. Every year, I think he's missed off once, and they were 9-7. So he puts up wins. The team wins games. So I think they're a better team with Stafford than Goff. So yeah, I think they're going to be tough.
Yeah, they are going to be tough because they upgraded that position, and it's just hard to admit it as a Niners fan that they are just a good team under McVay. There hasn't been one single losing season under Sean McVay, and
Mm-hmm.
what you got to appreciate about the Rams is they always seem to bring the best out of us, even though we owned them the last couple of years. But
Yeah,
they always seem to bring great competition. So just coming from a Niners fan's perspective for Pale Time, I mean, you guys do have a great roster. I think you guys have the most pressure.
I agree.
So as far as that, I mean, it was great collaborating. I mean, you do good on your stuff. I mean, how do anybody else can keep in contact with you on YouTube or stuff like that? I mean, how can they find you?
Yeah, I'm at El Sacco 49 on Twitter, and the show, our No Huddle podcast, 49ers Web Zone, is going to get started up again. Actually, I think we're recording Wednesday. We've been off for a couple of months because there's nothing to talk about in May and June, so I don't want to just sit and regurgitate the same stuff. So we're back. We're back, and we're going to probably be pretty consistently now throughout the season. So we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify. You can go to 49erswebzone.com, look that up too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting going again.
Oh, that's good, dude. I mean, I've seen your name come around a lot often. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, keep doing what you're doing. I
Appreciate it,
appreciate
man.
what you do, man. You're a great
Thank
dude.
you.
It seems like you know your stuff, and it's kind of a good time to at least talk to like at least two of the legends of today. I mean, Larry was the first one, then you today. It's like
Dude, I
I got to
appreciate it,
talk to
man.
two people in one day, bro. It's awesome.
And let me tell you what, too, Larry is a great guy. I worked for KMBR for a little while in 2019, was it? I think so, yeah. And Larry helped me out a lot. He's a great guy. He knows his stuff. He's really entertaining. Larry's a good dude.
Yeah, he seemed like a great dude, but like earlier today, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of had a little goosebumps just the fact that I was talking to this guy and I kind of screwed up a little. But now that I kind of
It's all
realized
good.
that what I said was wrong, it's KBR, KNBR. I got it all mixed up. That
It's
kind
all
of
good.
made him laugh. Actually, he was laughing because he thought it was hilarious the way I
Oh, he's a
said
great
it.
guy. So I'll tell you a story. When we were pretty new on the podcast, and I had Gary Plummer on. So I was pretty excited, you know what I mean? Super Bowl linebacker and everything. So we start the show and we're talking like 5 minutes, and I realized the show wasn't recording at all. So I got to tell Gary Plummer, like, dude, I'm so sorry. None of this recorded. And I'm thinking he's going to be like, who is this clown? But he was great again. He's like, no worries, let's start over. So it happens to everybody, man. You know what I mean? There's mistakes and everything. It happens. You only hear the finished product, right? After you edit it, but there's mistakes happen. It's all good.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I look more forward to you in the near future. We could definitely collaborate. And Larry Krueger also. I mean, you guys are just two awesome people on the radio.
Appreciate
I
it.
mean, KMBR. Now I got it right instead of like earlier because I just got one funny comment from this other guy, and I realized I did kind of like said it the wrong way. But Larry just had a good laugh about it. That's what he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a chill dude. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so anybody else, man, check out the 49er. What is it? The 49ers the No Huddle podcast or what?
Yeah, we're a 49ers web zone, and it's the No Huddle podcast. So it's through 49ers web zone. And
Okay,
again,
49ers web zone.
yep. And you check me out on Twitter, Sacco 49. Give me a follow. I love talking to people on game days. I answer everyone's questions, or I try to. So yeah, check me out. It's all good.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good to hear. Anything else you want to say before we end the stream a little later? I mean, like right now or no?
Let's just have a winning season, man. Let's do it. Let's have a good year. I can't have
Let's.
another 10-loss season. No injuries.
Oh yeah,
Definitely. And thank you for having me, man. This was fun.
yeah, no problem, man. Near future or whenever you got the free time, let me know, and we'll definitely collaborate, man. You're more like a brilliant guy that you definitely know what you're talking about, and I
Appreciate
appreciate.
it.
I'm starting to soak up your knowledge a little bit. That's a good thing.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
No problem, man. So go check out 49ers Red Zone podcast. Al Sacco, look him up on Twitter.
What?
Definitely go check him out, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, no problem, man. So that was Al Sacco. Definitely go check out his website and all that. I mean, great dude. It was a great honor to at least have a live stream with Larry Krueger earlier and then Al Sacco today. So it's great that every one of you guys got to enjoy it. As far as everything else, I appreciate every one of y'all. Have a blessed day. And as far as me, if it wasn't for you guys, man, this wouldn't happen. So I thank you guys. So CG Ruthless Sports is out. And go Niners.